As you all have seen, AEW All In 2024 was a great pay-per-view. I did my live reaction, which is on this channel. Make sure you go check that out. But so many big moments happened, from Will Ospreay to Mariah May becoming the new Women's World Champion. And also in the main event, Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, you heard that correctly. Bryan Danielson defeated Swerve Strickland in the main event of All In 2024, and it has been a lot of rumors and speculations as to, was Daniel Bryan final match going to be at All In. You know, he came out the final countdown. His wife and kids, Brie Bella, Birdie, and I forgot his son's name, but I think it's Buddy, if I'm not mistaken. But his entire family was ringside watching his final. Well, it was built as potentially Bryan Danielson's final match, but he shocked the world and defeated Swerve and became the new champion. So the question is, and everybody is wondering and asking, when is Bryan Danielson going to call it quits officially? Because he said that this year would be his last year full-time in professional wrestling. But he is the world champion of one of the biggest companies in the world right now. So how do we get to that point? If I were booking things, me personally, I would have Bryan Danielson hold the belt until Wrestle Dream. Because, okay, after the next pay-per-view coming up is All Out, and Christian Cage won the Casino Gauntlet match, and he is the number one contender for the AEW World Champion. So I'm assuming they may do Bryan Danielson versus Christian Cage at All Out. If they don't do it at All Out, they may do it at Wrestle Dream. But I would do Christian Cage, Bryan Danielson at All Out, so you have a main event. So yeah, that could be a main event, or that could just be on a card. Me personally, I probably would have that on the main event since it's the world title. Danielson defeats Christian Cage, and then this is where I would have Bryan Danielson's final months /weeks as champion, heading into Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream is in Bryan Danielson's hometown, in Washington, home state, Washington. And I believe that's in November, if I'm not mistaken, or is around October, November. Wrestle Dream is. So I would have Bryan Danielson carry the belt until Wrestle Dream. But who will be the person to take the title off of Bryan Danielson? This is why I have the roster pull up right here. There's all your champions. Bryan Danielson, new World Heavyweight Champion. This is the roster. See, I'm not even going to look at the rankings because AEW, they're pretty much abandoned the rankings. The rankings don't mean shit. At the moment, at least. I mean, just looking at this roster, you can't go back to Swerve. Swerve just lost the belt. I don't think Christian Cage would take the title away from Bryan Danielson. I got him beating. I got Bryan Danielson beating Christian Cage. I really, Jay White, but it's like, man, Jay White could have been built as a top challenger, but he's kind of been in the trio's title picture for the last couple of months. Was I think he could have been done. Jay White could have been doing a lot better stuff than mixing it up in the trios division. That's just my opinion. Man, Kenny Omega's out. You really don't have many options, to be honest with you. You really don't have many options to take the. I mean, you have options, but it's like anybody that they have been building up recently. Like, who would be the next guy to carry this company? Now, I would have said Will Ospreay, but he is currently the international champion. Now, they always could have Will Ospreay work his way up to the AEW title, but I feel like they may be building towards that Will Ospreay versus Ricochet match. So yeah. So Will Ospreay for right now will be out the picture, since I believe they're gonna be doing that match instead. Ah, man, I mean, you could do Joe, have Samoa Joe come back, but I don't think he's gonna win the title. But you could always do a program between Joe and Bryan Danielson, just to call back to the ROH days. But I really don't see any really real viable top challengers for Bryan Danielson. To take the title away from him. I mean, they can always build a guy up. Like I said, you can always build a guy like Jay White up, Hangman, but I feel like Hangman and Swerve going to continue their feud. See, I was thinking this right here. Darby Allin. There has been a lot of rumors with Darby Allin. I've seen some rumors with Darby Allin saying that they might be looking to put the AEW World Championship on Darby Allin, which I don't think is a bad idea, because Darby Allin is a pillar and he's one of the AEW's homegrown talents. If you were to give the belt to somebody, if you were to have Bryan Danielson pass the torch to somebody else, if you don't want to give it to another heel, I mean, that's the case. Like, do you want to give it to another face and Darby Allin? I don't really see any major heels that could really take the title away from Bryan Danielson at the moment. Not at the moment. I don't really see many, not much. So maybe they could do like a Darby Allin. They could possibly turn Darby Allin heel and have Darby Allin feud against Bryan Danielson, and you could do Darby Allin versus Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream in Washington. The two Washington boys, battle it out for the AEW World Championship. You could do that. Let me make sure this is AEW Wrestle Dream 2024. Yeah, it's going to be in Tacoma, Washington again. Or I don't know if it wasn't in Tacoma last year. I know it was in Washington last year, but it's in Washington again this year. You could do that. Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, because everybody else is filled up pretty much. MJF's gonna be feuding with Daniel Garcia. I feel like Will Ospreay gonna be mixing it up with Ricochet. Hangman gonna be taking on Swerve. So you could do Darby Allin versus Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin could be the next AEW World Champion, which, in my opinion, would not be a bad idea at all. A heel Darby Allin AEW World Championship run. The only thing about it is that he's a very, very small guy, but it's AEW, so, and Tony Khan loves his small guy, so yeah, man. But that's pretty much it for this video. I'm excited to see where Bryan Danielson's championship run is going to lead to. And let me know you all thoughts in the comments down below. But other than that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Peace.